Hello, everyone. Today we're studying the causes of electrical fires and explosions. Electrical fires in China in recent years has been on the rise. Electrical fires and explosions and all fires and explosions occupy a large proportion. According to statistics, about 14% to 20%. Electrical causes of fire is second only to the general open fire of the second cause of wiring, switches, socket, lamps, electrical motors. Fires can be caused by accidents with electrical furnaces, etc., especially when the wiring, electrical equipment, or electrical appliances are in contact or close to combustible materials. The risk of fire is greater. In high voltage equipment, transformers and switches have a greater risk of fire, and there is also a danger of explosion. Electrical fire and explosion accidents, in addition to causing personal injury and equipment destruction, can also cause widespread or longer power outages, bring great losses to national property. Fire is a disaster caused by uncontrolled burning in time and space, uncontrolled combustion in time and space. Combustible substances burning in air is the most common combustion phenomenon. Any combustion beyond the effective range to form a hazard is also called fire. The necessary condition for combustion is the presence of a combustible substance. Flammable substance, also known as oxidizers. The source of ignition. It has the ability to emit light. Exothermic. It is characterized by the production of new substances. The most common combustion phenomenon. Combustible materials burn in air or oxygen. Most combustion aids are oxygen in the air. In some cases, chlorine and sulfur vapors, etc. A source of ignition is a source of energy that is certain temperature and heat, such as fire, electrical sparks, arc, and burning objects, etc. 2. Explosion. Material undergoes a violent physical or chemical change, and in the instant release of a large amount of energy, generate high temperature and high pressure gas, so that the surrounding air shook violently and cause a loud noise phenomenon known as the explosion. The necessary conditions for an explosion is with flammable and explosive substances or explosive mixtures at the same time. There is a source of ignition. Explosion is divided into physical explosion and chemical explosion of two types. Physical explosion process does not produce new substances such as steam boilers due to overpressure and caused by the explosion. Chemical explosion process accompanied by the transformation of substances. This is a chemical plant fire explosion scene. You can see the scene of smoke rolling very scarily. Third, spontaneous combustion and flash fire. Combustible substances in the air by heat and warming, without the need for open flames, can catch fire and burn. The phenomenon is called spontaneous combustion. Its characteristics are often expressed in terms of self-ignition temperature, degrees Celsius, expressed the lower the self-ignition temperature. The formation of fire and explosion risk is also the greater. Flammable liquid vapor and air mixture in contact with an ignition source, only flickering phenomenon known as flash ignition. Flash ignition but does not cause liquid combustion. The lowest temperature of the flash ignition without causing also expressed in degrees Celsius. Flash point is the identification of flammable liquids, formation of fire and explosion hazards. The main data: the lower the flash point, the formation of fire and explosion risk is greater. 4. The explosion concentration limit. Combustible gases, combustible dust or fibers of a class of substances can ignite and burn when in contact with an ignition source. When such substances mixed with air and the concentration reaches a certain proportion range, gas is formed. Vapor, dust, or fiber explosive mixture. The proportion of the concentration range is called the explosion limit. Explosive limit is divided into upper explosive limit and lower explosive limit. Concentration below the lower explosive limit or higher than the upper explosive limit, only possible fire and combustion without forming an explosion. This is because the concentration is higher than the upper explosive limit. Air will be relatively reduced. Insufficient oxygen supply will not form an explosion. Here we look at a specific case. August 25, 2018, 4:12 or so, Songbei District, Harbin City. Harbin Beilong Tian Tangguan Leisure Hotel Corporated. A major fire accident. The fire area is about 400 square meters, caused 20 deaths. 23 were injured. This direct economic loss of 25.048 billion yuan. The fire accident caused massive casualties and economic losses. Lessons learned tragically. After investigation, the causes of the fire accident are as follows. First, the second floor platform of the second phase spa area, the electrical wiring of the fan coil until hanging from the roof on the north side of the west wall was short-circuited, forming a high-temperature arc, which has ignited the surrounding plastic plants and decorative materials and spread the disaster. Second, illegal construction of the hotel. Massive use of flammable and combustible materials for decoration. Circuit laying and selection of electrical equipment does not meet the requirements of specifications. Electrical circuits were not protected by conduits. Multiple short-circuiting of electrical circuits during the fire. The short-circuit protection device is not effective. 3. Disorganized fire safety management. Firefighting equipment and facilities are in despair. Failure of fire inspection. Fire safe education. Failure to conduct fire safety education and drills. Employees do not have the ability to guide customers to escape and evacuate and fight initial fires. In response to the cause of the accident, preventative measures have been formulated by the relevant departments. First, safety awareness education for employees must be strengthened. Fire drills should be conducted and know how to use fire extinguishers, etc. Second, Electrical equipment should be properly selected. Circuit laying should be in accordance with a standard. Short circuit protection should be effective. Flammable and combustible materials should be kept away from electrical equipment and circuits, because once the electrical circuit short circuits, it is very easy to have fire accidents. Third, the fire prevention, supervision, and inspection should be carried out in practice to prevent accidents. Below, we look at the causes of electrical fires and explosions. The occurrence of electrical fires and explosions is essentially electrical equipment overheating or electrical sparks caused by arcing. We know that Q equals to I squared RT. The heat emitted is proportional to the square of the current. Electrical equipment overheating is mainly caused by the heat generated by the current. The causes of overheating are short circuit, overload, poor contact, core heat, and poor heat dissipation, etc. Electric sparks are breakdown discharges between electrodes. Arc is a large number of electric sparks. Convergence of the electrical sparks include work sparks and accident sparks. The first cause of electrical equipment overheating is short circuit. In one electrical circuit, current does not flow through the appliance directly connected to the poles of the power supply, or two-phase wires are directly connected. Then the power supply is short-circuited. According to Ohm's law, I equals to U divided R. We know that since the resistance of wires is very small, when the power supply is short-circuited, the current of the circuit will be very high, causing the temperature of the equipment to rise sharply, much higher than the permissible range. If the temperature reaches the spontaneous combustion point of combustible materials, it will cause combustion, leading to a fire. Causes a short circuit of several common substations. First, the installation of electrical equipment aging deterioration or by high temperature. Humidity or corrosion of the roll of insulation ability to reduce. Insulation is broken. Second, improper installation of equipment or negligence make the installation of electrical equipment by mechanical damage. Third, the role of lightning and other overvoltage electrical equipment installation may be broken. Fourth, in the electrician's work, due to wiring and operation errors, etc., causing electrical equipment to overheat. The second reason is overloading of electrical equipment. Overloading causes electrical equipment to overheat. The causes of overloading are broadly. There are the following two situations. One is inadequate selection of wiring or equipment during design, so that overheating occurs under rated loads. Secondly, unreasonable use. That is, the line or equipment load exceeds the rated value or continuous use for too long, more than the design capacity of the line or equipment. This causes overheating. The third cause is poor contact. The contact part is the overheating. A key part is it is easy to cause localized heat, burns. There are several conditions that can cause poor contact. First, poor connection of non-removable joints, poor soldering or impurities in the joint, increase the contact resistance, and cause the joint to overheat. Second, removable connectors are not tightly connected or are loose due to vibration, can also cause the joint to heat up. Third, moving contacts, such as the contacts of knife switches, plug contacts, contacts such as the contacts of lamps and lamp bases, and other movable contacts. If there is not enough contact pressure or the contact surface is rough and uneven, will lead to contact overheating. Fourth, for copper and aluminum connectors, due to the different electrical properties of copper and aluminum, joints are prone to corrosion due to electrolysis. This leads to overheating of the joints. The fourth reason is overheating of the iron core, transformers, the iron core of the motor and other equipment. If the core isolation is damaged or overvoltage for a long period of time, eddy current loses and hysteresis losses will increase. Overheating of the equipment. Fifth, poor heat dissipation. All kinds of electrical equipment in the design and installation should consider some measure of heat dissipation or ventilation. If these parts are damaged, can cause the equipment to overheat. The sixth cause of electrical sparks and arcs. Generally, electric sparks are very hot. Especially the electric arc temperature can be as high as 3,000 degrees Celsius to 6,000 degrees Celsius. Therefore, electric sparks and arcs can not only cause combustible to burn, can also cause the metal to melt, splash, constitute a dangerous source of ignition. In places where there is a danger of explosion, electrical sparks and arcs are more likely to cause fires and explosion of a very dangerous factor. Let's look at another case below. December 12, 2006, 8:24 p.m. Renmin Road, Wenzhou City, Zhejiang Province. The 28th story Wenfu building podium on the first floor, a fire broke out in the flower store, Doudou Xian. The fire ignited a large number of dried flowers in the flower store. Wrapping paper, plastic flowers, and other flammable materials caused the fire. Smoke rushed up to the outer wall of the flower store on the first floor. Through the blockage of the billboard on the roof of the first floor, from the second floor window directly into the new art court ballroom, there were about 200 people in the ballroom. People quickly fled to the two corridors. Most of them escaped. 21 people were killed by the fire and smoke. The fire destroyed the flower store and the beauty shop next door. The fire covered an area of 1,270 square meters. The cause of the accident was short circuit of the lighting line in the ceiling of the flower store. Secondly, there were a lot of flammable and combustible materials in the store. Lighting electrical wiring is not through the tube protection, does not meet the specification requirements. Preventive measures. First, businesses must be aware of fire safety. Decorations should comply with electrical fire safety codes. Second, commercial lighting circuits should be laid in accordance with specifications. Short circuit protection should be set. Flammable and combustible materials should be kept away from electrical equipment and circuits. Third, fire inspection should be detailed and perfect. Should not be a mere formality. Electricity both bring warmth, civilization, convenience, but it can also cause disaster, death, tragedy. Safe electricity is my job. Preventing fires is everyone's responsibility. That's all for today's lesson. See you soon.